On the bench today, we've got a 2025 Nick Johnston traditional HSS 10th anniversary Stratocaster. I'm doing this video really just because there aren't many review videos of this guitar out there, and it definitely deserves, to have a handful or so. There's maybe one you could call a review video. A couple YouTubers reviewed it and they said they liked it and played the guitar and that kind of thing. It was a decent video, but didn't really cover it in depth like I'm about to, right? And I saw another video. It was really a pickup comparison. It wasn't really a video about the guitar. And then Nick Johnston himself has a couple of videos of him playing and talking about specs, that kind of thing. So definitely check those out. But yeah, we'll kind of give you my experience and my thoughts on this guitar. And we'll kind of do that from a context of the specs themselves. So first, a little bit about the pricing. This guitar, so right-handed models are $1,300. This is left-handed. I'm left-hander, so this is $1,350. We've got the $50 lefty tax, which is fine. Not going to complain too much because Schecter does come out with left-handed versions of most of their models, unlike many manufacturers. So it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, and we got a comparison, right, to Nick's USA signature model, which starts at $3,350 and goes up to $4,100. So in comparison, this is actually a steal, because as you'll see, the specs are a lot similar, and there are a couple of things to do. You can do that basically mimic the USA signature edition, which I did. So we'll start up here at the headstock. One of the things I did is I replaced the stock locking tuners with that were non-staggered and were Schecter Nuovo branded locking tuners, probably made by Goto. But these are hip shot, and these are staggered. And because of that, I was also able to remove the 3-string string tree, which was weird. It covered up this 3rd string also with what's on the USA signature model, which is this Graph Tech string tree here with just these high E and B string. As you can see, they're a closed hip shot model. They got the little hole in the middle, which the hip shots typically do. There. But yeah, tuning stability has been great. There's another reason for that, which I'll get to here in a moment. Yeah, so the fretboard is ebony. The neck wood is wenge. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but as you can see here, just beautiful, awesome feeling neck. Just love it. Just feels great in the hands. Very smooth, very playable. The only really negative I can come up with about it is that it's a bit heavy. So when I had the neck off the body, weighed the neck and it was over 4 pounds by itself. So typically look for necks in the 3-pound range on Stratocasters. And the weight of the guitar overall, Stratocasters, you're looking for around a 7-pound weight. This one was 8.9 pounds, so a little on the heavy side, but that's the price you pay for rock and roll, right? But overall, just an awesome neck. We've got met brass inlays, which are unique and I think are very cool personally. What else? Just standard 25.5 inch scale. The Nick Johnston C shape, which is very comfortable. I would say kind of similar to a Fender standard thin, right? 22 jumbo stainless steel frets. So stainless steel, I know they're coming in a lot of lower cost guitars these days. It's starting, kind of a trend that's happening, but yeah, very nice, very smooth, easy to bend, etc. 14-inch fretboard radius, so fairly flat. There's definitely flatter fretboards out there, but pretty close to 12-inch. Not a huge difference if you're a Gibson fan. The nut was another area that I'll mention that I spent some time on. The head sharp corners, so I took a file and sort of rounded those off so it wouldn't stab me when I was doing chords down here in the first 3 frets. Yeah, so probably just a product of an Indonesian type, manufactured guitar, but something you might consider doing if you pick one of these up. But other than that, the Graphtec nut is fine. It was cut pretty well. I think based on my measurements, the heights are correct, etc. So I think that is about it for the neck. So we'll go down here to talk about the body, and as you can kind of see, look at the sparkle on that body. Very nice. I would say these. The name of the color is Atomic Saffron. Which I mean, it's basically gold metal flake, but the flakes are very small, which is kind of unique. I actually prefer this. I like this compared to larger flakes. Larger flakes would kind of remind me of 70s, vinyl couch or something, but yeah. And I've gotten multiple compliments too on it, so very cool. The wood is alder, which is pretty standard for a Stratocaster. What else do we have here? Yeah, I think that's it for the body itself. Let's talk about the electronics. One other thing to mention about the neck. The truss rod adjustment is a spoke wheel, they're called. And I tell you, I wish these were on all guitars, because this is the way, right? You can take a small screwdriver or small adjustment tool, put it in one of the holes there in the spokes, and turn it, left or right, depending on what you're trying to do, the truss rod adjustment. And it just works great. It's out of the way, but very accessible. Very cool. Electronics. So this guitar features Nick's USA pickups, which are also in his signature edition guitars. So we've got the Atom Bucker in the bridge, and we have 2, let's see, what does he call them? 2 single coils, which are subatomic single coils, made in the USA. So, and single coils sound really good. They sound, pretty much dead on Stratty type sounds. Get some quacks out of them, etc. So it's very good. Really happy with those. No plans to switch out any of the pickups at this point. The wiring, the switch, etc. Is same as a signature guitars. And things I did is that I switched out the knobs, volume and tone, because they were Tele chrome dome knobs, and I like those, but I just didn't want Tele knobs on my Strat. So did some research and found these are actually, I believe, Jazzmaster knobs, and I just kind of like a taller Gibson top hat knob or something. I'm not sure, but these are installed via set screw, as you can see here. But they're working fine, and I think the color matches well, and just something makes the guitar a little different from everybody else's, right? A little customization there that's pretty cheap. And then finally, the bottom here, we have the bridge. This is, I believe this is a Gotall 510 that's essentially branded Schecter bridge. Schecter calls it the, hold on here, let me see, they call it the Schecter Nueve Tremolo. So, Japanese hardware, USA made, electronics, and one of the things I did was I swapped out the saddles for these Wilkinson WLS 130s. And the reason why I did that, a little bit of a story. When I received this guitar, I strum it, and the sound was somewhat metallic, I guess is the best way to describe it. There was some buzzing on a couple of the strings, and I paid pretty good money for a setup, right? So I sent the guitar back to them. They supposedly fixed it, sent it back to me, and the buzzing had changed to a couple of other strings. The bridge was angled down, wasn't correct, and so I sent it back to them again, and they said that the neck had shifted. So I don't know if they meant warped, or I don't know exactly what that was about, but they sent me basically a different guitar, same model, and this one was much better, right? So I make a couple of adjustments. The one they sent me was probably, I don't know, 20-30% better. After replacing the saddles, I think I got to probably 70%, 80% of the way there. After replacing the tuners and the string tree, which, by the way, the string tree that came from the factory was loose up here. It was just kind of hanging out, and you could push it down, whatever. And I took the string off, I took the screw out, took the string tree off, and found that the hole they drilled for the screw wasn't deep enough, so it stuck out of the headstock there. So that's why it was just kind of floating on top of the strings. So I replaced the screw, which the factory screw was more of like a machine threaded screw as opposed to a wood screw. So I replaced it with a screw from a different string tree I had my parts bin, which was more of a wood screw, and screwed it down, and that took care of that. But now we have a whole new string tree on there, so that's not an issue any longer. But the other thing I did was I replaced the springs. So these are raw vintage springs, which I pretty much do of all my Strats. I just love these springs. I like to use all 5. That's how Leo designed it, right? And they don't, the tremolo arm is still relatively easy to bend up or down. It doesn't cause excess tension or anything like that. And so I think that helped. And I think the thing that finally solved everything was fixing this neck. So I replaced the neck plate here with a custom plate. This is actually a Goto plate with some Japanese art inscribed into it, which I thought was kind of cool. But when I took out the original plate, which is, by the way, much thicker than this, I don't know if you can see the thickness here, but it was like twice as thick as that, which kind of defeats the purpose of a angled, recessed, neck pocket, in my opinion. But so I replaced that. But when I took the screws out, I found that they had the screws were screwed into the body and the neck at the same time, which is not how that's supposed to be, right? So the screws should move freely in and out of the holes in the body and just screw into the neck. So got my drill out, widened those neck holes a little bit, and fixed that. And then when I put the neck back on, put everything back together, I noticed it changed something with the angle, which tells me there was probably something going on there. It was probably a problem anyway. So I had to readjust the saddle height and essentially do my own setup on it. And now we are back in business. So I've been playing this for several hours since then, and it just plays beautifully. And then I think the last thing I did was I replaced the strap buttons. So it comes with decent strap buttons. Actually, they're 15 millimeter wide, but I prefer these. These are Goto 17 millimeter strap buttons. So easy enough to swap out, relatively inexpensive customization there. Here is the printout from their website on the wiring diagram. Pretty much standard 5-way switch setup that Strats use. Does use 500K pots. So I thought the single coils might be negatively impacted by that. Typically, Strats, the pots are 250K, but vintage pots were 300 to 380, something like that. So actually, they didn't have great tolerances back then. So vintage sounding guitars have typically higher measuring pots, but 500K is higher still, but they still sound great. So I don't know if they're maybe designed to handle that or how that works, but no complaints there. And then I was checking my notes, everyone. I think I covered everything that I did, everything I replaced. I think that's pretty much it. So just a handful of things that I either replaced or just fixed. Like I said, drilling out the neck holes, for example. Really turned, I think, a very good guitar into a great guitar. So this definitely great now. So hopefully this helps you decide or figure out if you want one of these. They come in 2 other colors and right-handed. And don't ask me what the names of the colors are, but they're basically white and purple. But they all have that really small metal flake type paint, which is very cool. So anyway, if you want me to do some sound, some tone demonstrations, sound tests, let me know, and maybe I can do another video about that. But yeah, in the meantime, have a good one. Thanks. Bye.